You guys need more flavor? Bland food ruining the trips? Miss that surge of energy and fun and the crashing hard afterwards? Well, now you can have it all with sugar spray. Insert here, air quotes, organic sugar spray. You can spray on everything. Your sleeping bag, your trekking poles, your hat, the bottom of your shoes. Lick everything and put the flavor and the energy back in your step. Check it out at sugarmeup.intense. Warning, friends will think you are strange and bipolar. Hello, everybody. This is Derek, and with me today is the only man who collects rocks on trips, but yells at his friends for putting rocks in his pack. There he is, Carl Manrioli. Why? It's like a double. I don't get it. It's like this catch 22.
Doesn't even make sense. Welcome to the Backpacking Blisters podcast, brought to you by Enlightened Equipment, makers of the best ultralight quilts on the market. Please check them out at enlightenedequipment.com. With me today is Derek Somerville. He's a man whose roommate used to take his water bottle out of the fridge. So Derek said, "That's not cool, man."
Wow. It took you like 3 attempts to get that right. I've sprayed water all over my floor now. So thank you. Thank you for that. That was good stuff.
We just got back from the Catalina backpacking trip.
It was good. It was a good one.
And over the years, I have made fun of gear. I've complained about gear. I make fun of gear that you bring, and I brought a lot of that on this one.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Didn't pull any punches. So we're going to talk about that, and I try to be open-minded, and there actually was some gear that changed my mind, but we're gonna kind of go through that. So as well as some other things that happened that were, of course, weird, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very weird. Yeah.
What is a piece of gear you should have brought and one you should have left behind on this trip, Derek?
Well, one gear I should have left behind in hindsight was my lifeguard hat. I had that big old straw hat. It just it had its moments.
That one.
It had its moments of benefit, like during the sleet windstorm on top of the peak we had. That actually was helpful. But other than that, it was kind of in the way. And then I also should have brought, or I should have.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, because I got to defend your choice there. So Catalina is an island off the coast of California. If you don't know, it's an increasingly popular backpacking spot, and there's not really any trees, so you're exposed the whole time. So if it's a sunny day, you're just gonna have sun beating down on you. And Derek has skin cancer, and he's just generally sensitive to anything. So that's why I brought it, right?
Wow. That's why I brought it. I wanted to protect myself. Little did I know we had the cloudiest, coolest weather of all time.
It was,
But I mean, in hindsight, it could have been sunny. There were moments I was glad I had it for sure, but I think overall it was kind of more in the way. And I ended up bringing a regular hat anyway. So
yeah, I know, double hat.
Whatever, double hat.
Okay,
too much. And then I should have.
What should you? Well, that's what you should have left behind. So what should you have brought?
Oh, okay. Well, I had 2 I should have left behind, but I'm going to go.
Sorry.
I should have brought. I didn't bring my slippers. Should have brought my slippers, but I did find a pair of ladies' flip-flops at our last camp at Parsons, so I did borrow those. That was nice.
And they were clear of all bacteria. There's no foot mold or anything on there.
I mean, I gambled it. I gambled it. You know what I mean? Just stick it in the ocean. It was fine. And then I should have brought my trekking poles. I didn't bring the trekking poles. I thought, I want to try it without it. I'm in shape. I want to see how I do. I got done with the trip and was my calves were on fire. On fire. Look, good work. They feel great now, but that never will happen if I have the trekking poles. It just won't.
That's true. Well, okay.
So, but overall it was fine.
All right. Well, on the positive side, I've poked fun at Derek over the years for his 2-mile days and stuff. And we had a big day. We had a day. It was, it was 13 miles, 3,700 feet of elevation gain. It was legit.
It was a beast.
And it was and that day was we had the bad weather that day. We also had mud that was caked on the bottom of our shoes after the bad weather, because that's just how the dirt is over in Southern California. Derek crushed this trip. He was borderline running, and maybe even was running at times up and down the mountains like they were nothing. So
I did run a little bit. You seem surprised. You seem surprised.
Oh, 100%.
100%. Yeah, we you had your moments where you peeled off. And I had my
You don't
moments
need
where
to
I filled
compliment
up.
me. This is all about you. Just soak it in.
I don't know. No, I don't know. Okay. I went back a couple times for some people because they were having some trouble, but it was a good. I felt good the whole trip. Okay. It was a good trip. It was a good, challenging hike. Yeah, it was good.
I will say though, there was one piece of gear that I thought you should have brought that you didn't have, and that was a Ziploc bag, because at one point, I forget what day it was, Derek pulls out like a package of pretzel crumbs and just pours it into his pockets, like the fine dust of the pretzels going into the pocket so he could reach down there, coat his fingers as he's pulling it out, shoving it into his mouth throughout the day.
I'm gonna edit that. I didn't pour straight pretzel dust in my pocket.
Yes, you did.
That would be messed up.
Like 4 people saw you, and I was like, "Are you really doing that?" And you're like, "Oh yeah."
These were premium Trader Joe's. I don't know if you guys know what Trader Joe's is. It's a fabulous store with fabulous things. I'll just leave it at that. It was peanut butter pretzels. Pretzels with peanut butter inside. We all know how good these are. And so I put a bunch in my pocket.
For sure. It might have started that way.
Some dust. There was some dust and some salt.
At one time, they were just pretzels with peanut butter inside. But by the time you're pouring them into your pocket, they're pretzel pieces. I didn't even know this is the peanut butter. So you must have like peanut butter goop like lining your pockets. That's disgusting.
No, it's dried. There's no peanut butter goop. It wasn't like wet. It wasn't like wet, creamy peanut butter. It was dried. Okay. It was all under control. You seemed a little shocked. Maybe it's, you're not at that level yet, but you can put crumbs in your pocket.
I am not at the level of pretzel crumbs directly into the pocket. No, I'm not at that level. Correct.
It's a gift, and the elite hikers know what I'm talking about.
Right. Okay, so we're going to get to it. We're going to get into it. This was not technically a Patreon trip, but we invited some Patreon folk to come because everybody rejected our Arizona trips. And so anybody who showed interest, I was like, just come on this trip with us. And they did, and they were awesome.
It was great.
And then I opened it up. Actually, we had a spot left like within a month of the trip, and I was like, hey, anybody on Patreon you want to go? Let me know. Nobody did, so yeah, they missed out.
They missed out. It was a good trip.
I'll tell you about the next Patreon trip we got coming up here in the tidbit section. So we got that coming up.
Yeah.
Bible verse of the episode, Psalm 4:8. In peace I will both lie down and sleep. For you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety. At what point on the trip do you feel safe? What's your safety zone?
At what point?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, it's so weird. I mean, you could go with the obvious answer, like I'm cuddled up next to you in the sleeping bags in the tent, zipped up.
Next to me, not next.
We feel totally
in the same
safe.
Vicinity, not touching me, not even. Close.
Not touching you, not touching.
Okay,
you. That would be crazy. No,
you said it was really awkward.
Felt safe. I mean, I don't know if I think I feel more like comfortable once like we've walked, like a good chunk on the first day, and I'm like in the groove. I'm in the groove, and the muscles are getting loose and stuff, and everything's kind of clicking. I think I feel settled. That's when I feel settled. Right. So
there were some unsafe moments on this trip, and so that's why I was curious.
There were some unsafe moments.
There's some folks that were concerned. We were on like the way they described it was like a knife edge ridge with wind that was blowing rain sideways, rain and sleet, and it was so like on one side was the sheer drop off, on the other side was just cactus. So not a lot of good options there.
I wouldn't say it was knife's edge. I would say it was steep.
I would either. Yeah.
But I will say, what was your thought? Like if the wind, because the wind was blowing in away from the cliff, right? And it did blow me off the trail a couple of times. What was your thought if the wind was blowing that strong the other way? Would you have just hiked off trail to the right?
There's not really a lot of options off trail. I think what you got to do is at that point, if it's dangerous, you got to take shelter, right? You got to just get out of it and wait till it's done.
Just wait for it to mellow out. Yeah, it was humming. Yeah, it was. And then we had that sideways sleet came out of nowhere. Sure.
So not at that point did you feel safe? Just to clarify.
No. I mean, I didn't feel in danger though. But it was. I mean, I felt like we had endured worse. And in my opinion, I was like, again, and I told you this before the trip. I'm like, this is in my own backyard. It's Catalina Island. It's not going to be like super crazy weather, but that was pretty crazy for about what, like 20, 30 minutes or whatever. But I still was like in the back of my mind, I'm like, this will mellow out. And it's not, like when you're in the forest or whatever and some random park and you don't really know it that well, it's like, when is this going to end? Like it can get a little more sketchy for sure.
I loved it, but I understand your fears for sure.
It wasn't fear. It was celebration.
Gotcha. Yeah. When is it going to end as a celebration? That sounds like one. All right. So we'll get to the point where I felt like you might have felt a little bit unsafe besides what you're just describing. So we'll get to that later on here. But
I know.
Let's get to the gear that I've been making fun of. Okay. I got to give a disclaimer here because people are sensitive out there and they get easily offended. So people that don't have a sense of humor or are just so stuck in their ways that they cannot even imagine a trip without this gear. This is just my opinion and sometimes Derek's opinion. But this is just gear that I find or have found to be silly or useless. But if this gear enhances your trip, if it makes you enjoy your time out there better, then by all means go for it. I'm not saying you shouldn't bring it. I'm just sharing my experience. Is that fair?
This is just Carl being ridiculous, guys. So
wait, why is it ridiculous? What part?
Some of the stuff you brought?
Oh, the stuff I brought. This is stuff that people have sworn by, they love, and okay, I'm gonna go in reverse order. The ridiculous gear that I found to be the most useless, like the worst of the gear that I brought. Okay.
Yeah. I already. Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
Any guesses what is low on that list, or one of the?
You're gonna put I think your number one thing was the toothpaste brush mini bottle.
Squeeze bottle. Yeah, that was
squeeze bottle.
I'll go with that one since you brought that one up. Yeah, that's down there. I don't know if that was the worst thing that I brought, but that was probably the second worst thing that I brought. So Derek had this idea of just squeezing water from a bottle to squirt onto his toothbrush. It actually does work. It actually does more conveniently and more efficiently squeeze a limited amount of water. So if you're in a spot where you actually have to conserve water, I mean, it really did work, but it was annoying. So we had like abundant water, and so I would like if you just want to pour a big thing of water onto your toothbrush, it wasn't that big of a deal, right?
Yeah, we had like excess water the last day, especially.
Yeah, spigots and stuff.
It did work, but I think it's like I only did it a few times, and then I realized I'm like, it's just not worth it. I can save a little bit more space, and
space. It's in pack clutter. I'm against pack clutter. And this is like king of the pack clutter. Just like you don't need to have in your pack. But I was willing to try it, and I was like, okay, I can see why you used it, but I still didn't like it. So there's that one.
Okay. What was your worst, though?
Okay. Next one on the list was I brought a full-size climbing rated carabiner.
Oh, yeah. Is this your worst? This bottom of the list?
Yeah, because I don't want to share what I was using it for as far as what I was connecting to the pack yet, but I didn't really know what else to use it for. What else could I use it for, Derek? We didn't have bears, so what else would there be? Like, I'm not going to hang a bear bag.
I mean, honestly, I don't know.
What else do you use it for?
Like, if you're absurd, you put an algae on it, but that's beyond absurd with pockets on your pack. So I don't.
And that's annoying. It's like just dangling around, clanging around back there.
Like, I guess if you're a gnarlier and more paranoid and retentive and thorough, you might put like some rope or something on. I don't know. Some paracord? I don't know.
Just to look cool. I mean, it could just be a pack ornament. It's fine, but I found that to be entirely useless. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really know what
In fact, there's a guy who brought it like a lighter weight carabiner just to clip on his pack. Like he didn't actually clip anything to it. It's just like a clip on his pack. No reason.
If you had a towel with a little ringlet and you could slide it on the carabiner to dry, maybe.
That maybe for like a keychain carabiner, but not for like a climbing rated one. Right?
It was thick and beefy.
Yeah. It had a lock on it.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Right. Oh, did it have the little spin lock on it? Is that what that was?
It did.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Big time.
Unnecessary.
Unnecessary. Okay, next one I brought. This is probably gonna be the most controversial one. This is an item that I actually thought that I was gonna like. I'm like, you know what? This is heavy, but if I'm being real, I'm probably gonna be super excited to have it on the trip. And I wasn't. It was the Crocs.
Yes.
The Crocs.
And you wore them. Guys, everybody sit down, guys. He wore them with socks. Crocs and socks. My pet peeve.
Craziness.
My pet peeve. Okay. He did it.
Yeah.
You didn't really like them, though.
Well, and I would have worn them without socks had you not shared those your pet peeve. So then, of course, I had to.
It was my mistake. But, I mean, are they heavy? How heavy were they? Like almost a pound?
I'm a size 12 for my foot, but I think average they go like 12 ounces to a pound. So it's heavy.
That's almost a pound. That's around a pound.
16 ounces. Yeah, a pound
12,
is
I thought you said 12 to 16. Oh, you're size 12.
I said 12 to a pound.
Yeah, okay. So that's a
lot of numbers there. You're right.
That's heavy. I think you could get some lighter weight, cozy slippers for half that.
I think you could probably, And really the best way to do it is to find women's flip-flops with toe fungus on them and use those, right? That's like the most efficient way.
That got the job done, and I left them there for the next person to get my toe fungus. So it's a shared community, and we all will be benefiting from that. You know? They probably went like halfway down my foot. It was probably like a size 6.
Yeah, they did. They did. You're like
half
size
of my
3,
heel,
right?
half of my
like
heel,
toddler size.
half of my heel was in the dirt. But you know what? It didn't matter. It didn't matter.
Okay.
It was good.
Okay.
It was good.
Next thing that I liked, the next best. Actually, I probably like the Crocs better than the Nalgene bottle, if I'm being honest.
Yes. Oh my gosh, Nalgene.
I brought a Nalgene bottle, folks.
Terrible.
6.4 ounces, empty. 6.4 ounces.
Terrible.
And yeah, I guess it was nice to put like drink mix in there easily without being, having to be careful, and then you get to kind of shake it up pretty easy. But I guess I don't know. I'm trying to think of the.
I gotta say this before I forget though, because I saw your Nalgene bottle, and then not Tupperware Mike, but our other guy, we'll call him Pastor Mike. Love this guy, fabulous guy.
Yeah.
Let me just start with that. He was. I don't know if we had a moment. I can't remember if you and I looked at each other for just a brief moment, but I know I looked at you when I saw his like super extra tall Nalgene bottle that he brought. That was like.
It was like 1.5 liters.
He was like a liter, and I was like, wait a minute. You not only brought the Nalgene, you brought the big boy. It was a big one.
Yeah, but
why?
We just met him. He's part of the B&B bottle store, so I didn't just meet him, but I'm not going to like break the ice by making fun of somebody, especially when I'm bringing Nalgene bottles too, so I didn't feel like I had a leg to stand on.
That's why you had me there.
You could have unleashed if you wanted to, I guess.
Yeah, but I actually really liked him, so I didn't want to do it.
Yeah. Okay, so he had a 1.5 liter size Nalgene bottle, and he had the heaviest pack. Do those two go hand in hand?
Yeah. What was it, like 36, 7?
No.
What was his pack?
No, it was sub 30. He still had a 29-pound pack, but that was the heaviest pack.
That was it?
Yeah.
We all packed.
And he also
pretty light,
crushed it on the trail, so I can't really say much about that.
Yeah, he did a good job.
He did.
Yeah. For a guy with like serious foot issues and issues, he had bandages on his foot, like he just was steady. He was just like compression stuff. No, like compression stuff, right?
He had like band-aids all over his foot.
He was bandaged up. No, he had like some leg, knee, ankle stuff going on. But he was just steady Eddie, man. He was just steady Eddie, and he kept.
Did you ask permission to share that information on this episode?
I think Mike is an open book, and he's a heart of gold.
Okay. Because anytime we make fun of anybody or share personal information on anybody, I always ask permission. I don't think he asked permission.
I think Mike is a man of the Lord, and he wants me to share that he has a strong will, and that is part of his strong will story.
You think he wants you to share about his bandages on his foot?
It wasn't a bandage. It was like a when you put like a knee brace, it was like an ankle brace, like a compression thing. Okay. It wasn't even a bandage.
Let's see. Next one I brought. This one we actually haven't made fun of. I think it just looks really silly. But this one I might actually use if I'm going in a place where there's not a lot of people, because it does make you look silly, but it actually does work. And that is the nose guard.
Oh my gosh. This is by far your worst.
You connect it to your sunglasses and it protects your nose from UV rays. What's wrong with that, Derek? I mean, I don't even know how to say this. Like, you destroyed any like social standing you had with anybody by wearing that thing. I think it's like, yes, you want to protect yourself from the sun. Yes, you want to be smart and wear your sunscreen, but like wearing the nose thing was just like, there's some things that are more important than your life. And that was not wearing that nose thing. It was hideous. I have had skin cancer taken out of my body like a million times already. Right.
I would refuse. Yeah. I would refuse to wear that.
Okay.
And you were like, let's do it. Pictures? Anybody?
That's coming on every trip now. If you have that strong of a reaction. So I thought if anybody can identify with my need to protect my skin, it's the person who's riddled with skin cancer, Derek Somerville. And I don't know how I'm wrong with that.
That crosses the line for me, though.
Okay, apparently
crosses the line. I'll probably end up wearing it.
All right, here we go. Next one. This one I did use, and I use it a lot. So if you can find a use for this thing, so that's not the issue for me. And that is the buff. I brought the buff. I've been stinking making fun of this thing forever. I used it as neck protection. I kept my head warm. I tried to use it every which way you could possibly use it. One saving grace was that I was able to buy it on sale, so I didn't spend the $35. It was only like $16 at the REI outlet. So that part made me feel a little bit better. But so I guess I did use it. So I guess I have to put it high on the list, but I'm not paying 30 stinking bucks for a shirt sleeve still. So there.
But do you feel? I mean, how do you feel about this? Because all of the B&B and myself included have witnessed you over the years just hate and dump on this item, and then you crack down. You got a discounted one. Oh, great for you. Maybe use your REI 20% discount. I don't know. Maybe do something like that, and then you use it.
Wait. Is that your strategy? Is use your REI 20% discount on a really like an item that's under $100?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying find it at a cheaper rate so you don't have to be so angry. That's all I'm saying.
I did that.
Okay, then what's okay? So do you like it? Aside from the price,
it was useful, but I didn't need it.
You loved it. You had it all over your head. You had it like turtleneck. You had it like scarfed. You had it like a hockey mask. You had it like you were robbing a bank. You had it all over the place. Guys, he looked like an Ewok a few times. I mean, you love this thing. I had mine on. I was fine with it, but you really embraced it. I'm proud of you.
Okay, so then is kind of the compromise, if you can buy it at a good price, it's okay to buy an expensive shirt sleeve.
If you can get it at a price that lowers your anger level below standard, then there should be no issue, because I know you liked it. Okay. But there was another item that you liked even more.
Okay, before I get to that one, I got to give one honorable mention. And this is an item I tried to bring, but they're no longer in business, and you can't buy them anywhere. I don't think I could find them anywhere, and that is the Aqua Clip.
Aqua Clip.
Yeah. I don't think we put them out of business, did we?
I think we did, yeah.
Okay, here's the thing.
They're not on Amazon or anything?
I didn't see it there. I mean, maybe they have like the Amazon version of it. But so definitely after the Aqua Clip, a lot of like the Chink and Tramper gear came out with their special pack sleeves they have for their shoulder straps and stuff. So people went that direction anyway. But if you were to type in Aqua Clip into YouTube, you're going to get reviews by legitimate backpacking YouTubers who love it. So with all these people like essentially sharing the love, it's got to be a pretty useless device if it still goes out of business, right?
I don't know. I mean, maybe they just didn't sell enough.
Yes is the answer. Yes.
Maybe their marketing was low. Maybe you got
it. They have YouTubers freely advertising for them. That's the best possible way to do it. Like,
but you didn't even put, the first time you got it, you didn't even put it on right. No wonder you hate it.
I put it on right.
It was upside down. It was upside down.
Okay.
We've been over this.
Moving on to the last thing. Okay. One last item that I brought that I have been making fun of for a few years now, that specifically with Derek. I have made fun of him for this.
Here we go, everybody.
And
Buckle up.
I'm being honest, like, I really enjoyed having these on the trip. These are the pajama pants.
Yes, the pajama pants.
No. Yeah.
I converted
Oh, my goodness. I would bring these on a trip where we weren't crushing miles, but... Or a trip where it's maybe a little cooler. Like I don't know why they kept my legs so warm. I thought the wind would cut right through them.
No, it's the fleece.
Yeah, but wind cuts through fleece. I don't know what it is.
It doesn't matter.
I should have weighed them. They're not that much. I still felt silly wearing them. I felt really silly wearing them, let's be honest.
Dude, you were so comfy and you know it. And
I'm owning up to it, man. Calm down.
Okay, let's make it. You got to sell it.
I told you on the trip that you were right. Like, I don't know how many times you want me to tell you. Like,
maybe like 3 more times.
Okay, you're right. Okay,
so that's good.
Here's another way that Derek was right. Is one of my arguments over the years is like he's the only stinking one wearing them on the trip, and then our last morning we wake up and we're hiking out, and there's a woman who is like kind of in our common area, and she's rolling up with pajama pants, and I was like, all right, I guess that argument's done as well. And then of course Pastor Mike brings his pajama pants, so that
my man.
Although did he say whether he would bring him again?
Oh, he would bring him again.
That's not an answer. Not what is your interpretation? Did he actually say?
We didn't get into that conversation, but I saw the joy in his face, So you you can mock me because I do things that most people don't do, but it's thinking outside the box, That's where we come up with our ideas, Carl.
You know what you should do is try to take a victory lap about this and continue to throw at my face. Keep going.
You need me to be a better hiker, and I just made you one on the last trip. You're welcome.
Okay, full disclosure though. Full disclosure is if I was doing a trip like I'm going to be doing in July where I am trying to crush a lot of miles and I'm trying to go ultralight, these are not coming. These are not.
That's up to you. I get that because you need to, keep the weight at a minimum. I get that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Speaking of luxury items, this is not a piece of gear that I said was dumb by any stretch, but I brought a luxury item that is ridiculous pack weight. And that's and I previewed it in a previous episode with Devin Ashby, and that's the newest Therm-a-Rest, the Neo Loft sleeping pad.
Yes. Yes. And we both tried this. You let me try this one night. What did you think?
4 inches of thickness.
Yeah.
True R value. Like it really was keeping you warm. And it's the size. They say it's the size of your Nalgene bottle. It's bigger than that. It's not compact.
Yeah, definitely
it's
bigger.
2 pounds, like I said. It's expensive. Right. It's amazing. I love this thing. I loved this thing.
It was like, I felt like it was glamping. It was just like for sure. I was like floating on a marshmallow. That's what it felt like. It was just pure bliss. So, but it took up over half the 2-man tent.
we brought a Half Dome 2+. So it was like a 2.5 man tent. And between Derek's wide, what was it? You had the Nemo,
the Nemo
Tensor, wide.
Yeah.
And between this, it was like we maxed out the width. So that you got to be careful with.
And the Nemo Tensor was what, 3 inches or so? And yours made it just look like it dwarfed mine. It was it was so beefy. But man, it was magical, I will say. Yeah.
Again, would not bring it on an ultralight trip, but this is probably going to make a lot of my trips in the future, like a lot of them.
Yeah. It was nice. How long did that take you to fill it up with the? I
would say like maybe a little bit longer. I mean, I didn't bring the pump. I just brought the bag. So maybe like a little bit longer than your typical pad.
Not that much longer?
Not that much longer. It's an effort, for sure.
You didn't seem like you were taking forever with it.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that thing's nice.
All right. So those are the highlights. Okay, so I kind of alluded to the fact. Okay, well, let me ask you this. Were there any highlights or mistakes you'd like to bring up before I share the ones that I observed?
Well, I know what you're going to talk about, and I'm going to bring it up right now. Okay. Other than me not bringing trekking poles, whatever. There was a night where, the first night we were camping, and you were dead asleep. You were out, and I was out, and then all of a sudden I hear this like dragging sound outside the tent. And I think that there's somebody outside the tent. Now in my mind, objectively, I'm like, nobody's out there. It's like, there's not a person like standing outside my tent, because it would like move and then it would stop, and then it would move and it would stop. And I'm like, this thing is right next to the tent. And then I realized it wasn't somebody's feet. It was something dragging my bag away from the tent outside. It was in the vestibule, outside the vestibule. And I was like, dude, what the heck? And eventually it stopped. So I went back to sleep. But
so you didn't want to get up and like get after it.
I never got out of the tent. I never got out of the tent, which I should. And I didn't know what it was. So I got up the next morning, and where was my bag, dude? My bag was in the middle of camp.
Right.
And it had some bite marks.
Correct.
In the sunscreen. And it had rummaged through all of my fire starting gear and took none of it except the Ziploc bag that it all came in. Doesn't make sense.
So what was it? What animal are we talking about here?
It was a fox.
It was.
The fox.
Yeah, the fox won.
You know,
didn't it tear into your hip belt pocket too?
It tore into the hip belt pocket. We have a zipper fabric rip. Right. I just washed the bag last night. I will be attempting. Now, I don't know if who remembers when I sent this bag in before it had a rip, and they fixed it. Osprey fixed it, sent it back. It was great. We're going to attempt it a second time. We're going to see what happens.
And just to clarify, when you say you washed it, did you throw it in your washing machine again?
Sure did.
Okay, folks, this is an anti-pro tip right here. Please don't do that. That's the number one way to like wreck the coating on your backpack and possibly the frame itself.
Sure
I don't know why Derek does this. He's tempting fate every time. Maybe because you're going to send it in. Or you're like, well, I'll send it anyway so they can fix anything else that's wrong.
Let's calm down a minute. Let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. So there's a little setting on there called delicate, and it's very fragile, and it works fine.
Okay.
Works fine. It was good. You know?
All right. Still, yeah. I'll let you decide. Is that good advice right there? Should you throw your backpack in the washing machine?
How old is the bag? How old's the bag? Over 10 years now? Is it over 10 years old?
Oh, yeah, but it's a legendary bag. You don't want to wreck that thing.
It still works great.
It's got the REI guy giving you bad advice about it, and it's got that story. Like, once that backpack goes away, the story goes away, my friend.
But I have to, I wanted it clean, because if you send it, because Osprey's kind of weird. They're like, if you send this bag dirty and it's unfixable, we will not be sending it back.
So you're saying the only way to clean it is the washing machine?
No, but I don't want to like sit there with a hand soap and a sponge and do all that junk. It's just
that's too like 19th century.
I just wanted to do it. Yes, it might take us some kind.
Okay.
It's too 19th century. I don't have time for that.
Okay.
So we'll see. We'll see if they fix it. I hope they do.
Let's see. The only other highlight I had was, okay, so this was a trip that I planned for the most part, but I've got a lot of stuff going down in my personal life. And so I leaned on a guy named Zach from Ohio that Derek has nicknamed what?
Stats. My boy.
Stats. Yeah, so Zach is, I would describe him as like a master trip planner. So he can plan. I would trust his trip plans better than my trip plans. He had the 3D pictures, the interactive Everything. Maps. He had good. The whole kit and caboodle with the mileage and the time slots and all this. It was great. I want to know something though, because Stats like to give us updates on the trail, right? Of where we were, how far we gone, elevation, blah blah blah. How'd you feel about all that? Well, I think that it takes a big man to admit when he's picky. And with the stat stuff, I'm a little on the picky side, I'll be honest. Like, he wasn't overdoing it, but he just had a lot of stats. And I kind of like to wait a little bit in the day before I find out, like, how many miles have we gone? How much elevation gain have we done? What's a little bit? Out, like, there's 5 hours of sunlight today. He just had all the stats. And I think, okay, you tell me. I think most people actually do want to hear that. They like hearing the updates. They want to know, like, incremental progress. I just kind of like to be surprised towards the end. Where do you stand with all that? I think I'm in the middle. Like, I enjoyed kind of knowing, like, oh, we're doing this much elevation. We've gone this far. Okay, it gives me like a destination, a goal, right? So now I know I can like mentally kind of get to a place where I'm like, okay, I need to do like another 1,000 feet of elevation. Right. We got about 6 more miles left. I have it helps me kind of see the finish line. So I didn't really mind it. Now this trail in particular though, in comparison to many trails we've been on, was very well marked. Had mile markers made of wood that were very clear every mile. Right. That you eventually started to appreciate toward the end of the trip. Yeah, towards the end I was like, all right, these are kind of cool. They were kind of cool. Yeah. So, and they were all pretty accurate. Everything was pretty accurate. It was a little bit off. Some miles I'm like, was that really a mile? And then some I'm like, we haven't seen one in a really long time. So I don't know how accurate they were, but yeah. They felt accurate. Who knows? Yeah. Who knows? So but yeah, all that to say, you're picky. All that to say, like, yeah, Zach Stats he did a good job. So I got to give him a shout out. He's just an awesome dude. So solid. Yeah. Solid. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how picky of a hiker would you say you realize you were? In regard to stats? Like high maintenance. Yeah. Or just, I don't know. I think we got to get feedback on this. All right. Do you prefer to know incremental stats? So updates every, let's say like 2 miles, 2 to 3 miles with maybe, mileage, weather, elevation gain, or do you like to kind of be surprised at the end or towards the end? You're like, okay, so let's see if you have a 10-mile day. You don't want to really know how far you've gone until like mile 8, till kind of like the finish line is sort of getting in sight. So what do you prefer? I'm more the second person, but I think there's more of the first person out there. That's my prediction. I think it's more the first person for me, if I'm being honest. But again, it's like, I told you this before on the trail too. It's like, if you don't want to hear all the stats, then like pop in there and hang out with them for a little bit. And then, maybe fade back a little bit and visit with, you had other people on the trail. So, okay. So you're saying, so when people are sharing stats, predict when they're about to share them and then run away. No, because you know he's going to give them when you hike with him. That's the man. That's the stat man. That's what he does. So then you hang out with him. You've gone on one hike with him. You don't know what he does every single time. I was on the trip for 3 days with this guy. Of course, I had a good idea. He liked his stats. 4 days. But then 4 days, sorry. All right. We've got Campground Saboteur Trivia coming up right after this. Ugh. Do you struggle with joint pain, breathing at altitude, uneven terrain, or simple exhaustion? Then it's time to up your trail game, folks, with our good friend Roan from Summit Strength. He's got a specialized program that will be just right for you to conquer your next adventure. Don't be left behind by the group again. Get your hands off your knees, get your butt off the log, and feel good getting after it with Summit Strength. The link to your success is always in our episode description, but you can check out all the information you need at summitstrength.com.au/online. It's time to be strong and pain-free for your next adventure. All right, 3 questions for you, my friend. Campground Saboteur Trivia. We had a Campground Saboteur, not in our group. And here we go. Number 1, finish the scenario for how to avoid being an annoyed campground neighbor. It's 5 a.m. and you wake up ready to leave camp. don't... You gotta finish the sentence.
I have to finish the sentence.
Yeah.
It's 5 a.m. I'm getting up to leave camp. Don't start talking loudly.
Okay. Correct. Don't be loud. Don't start talking loudly. There you go. All right, number 2.
Wow.
Well, it seems obvious, but this
weird
happened.
question, but okay, continue.
It's not weird. This is campground saboteur trivia. This is stuff that happened.
Fill in the blank, yeah.
Which of the following does not make the list of ways to make enemies at a campground according to a website called Active Explorer? So which is not on the list of ways to make enemies at a campground? A, walking through another's camp. B, camping in a spot that's already reserved. C, leaving trash in your neighbor's campsite.
Which is not on the list of
ways to make enemies at a campground.
Oh, gosh. Okay, walking through the camp.
What about reasonableness?
Camping where they're already where they're supposed to camp. And then
camping in a spot that's already reserved, just like reserved.
And then leaving trash?
Your neighbor's campsite.
Oh, God, they're all kind of lame. I'm going to say walking through the camp.
That is incorrect, my friend. That made the list. People hate when people walk through their campsites, especially if it's like on the way to the bathrooms or something. Not a common problem is leaving trash in your neighbor's campsite. Usually you leave it in your own campsite, not your neighbor's. That's not a common issue.
But I was just thinking if you leave it in your neighbor's, okay. Well, okay.
Number 3, rank the following campsite infringements from not so bad to horrendous.
Here we go.
Okay, there's
How
4.
many you got? 4? You got 4 now. I knew it. Okay,
your smoking flows into your neighbor's campsite.
Smoking, okay.
Your kids go and pester the neighbors.
Oh.
Your dog goes and licks the neighbors. You ask your neighbors if they have any old video game systems they'd like to sell. Not so bad to horrendous. What you got?
Wow. This is totally ridiculous because you probably arranged this to what you want. Is this on a website? Where did you come up with this? Did you come up with this?
I just made it up.
See, I love that you mock guys, here we are. He mocks my trivia.
This is what you do. This is what you do.
And then you pull this out and then you blame me. You are the biggest hypocrite I've ever seen.
Oh my gosh.
Who are you? God, this is terrible trivia, Derek. Let me show you.
Just answer the question. I'll explain myself.
There's really no way to get this right because you're gonna just change one and make me get it wrong. Okay. I believe. The least invasive would be. It'd be kind of funny, is if you asked them for old video games. And then the second's like the dog. The dog lick. Like dogs run around, dogs lick. Okay. It's like, that's nobody, everybody's kind of like, oh, the first time it's not a big deal.
Right.
I'm going to say the smoking the kids could go like either way. I'm going to say, oh my gosh, I don't know. I'm going to say, what was it? Kids pestering?
Yeah, the neighbors.
I'm going to say, oh gosh. I'm going to say smoking flowing over there, and then the kids pestering is probably the most annoying, I would say.
Most horrendous. Okay. All right, that is correct, my friend. Well done.
Wow.
It was an opinion question. I would have taken any answer, basically. But
smoking is the least invasive. And
I would have said smoking. I would have had that as the most horrendous. Like you're just sitting there trying to...
Smoking is horrendous, yeah.
Eat your food and the smoke is going into your face. Depends on how close the campsites are, I guess. Yeah.
I have a little disclosure. Like my neighbors, like sometimes I'll go out in my backyard and relax, and my neighbors will be smoking out there, and it wafts over to me, and it's just like it just ruins
the ambiance.
Yeah,
I will say, and going back to a previous question, I have had somebody camp in a spot that I've already reserved, and I was getting there a little bit later at night with my family. Yeah. And while I was trying to like negotiate the situation, that the family that took my spot had kids, and the kids. Like, they were nice kids, but it was just very late, and they were shining their headlamps in my face, asking me all sorts of questions. And I was like, I got to sort the fact that you have taken our campsite out while you're asking me questions. And so I would describe that as pestering me with their parents. They were friendly, but they took my campsite, right? Yeah. And so I literally wasn't a happy camper. And so I think I handled the situation okay. I didn't like melt down or anything.
What happened? Did you kick him out? Like, what happened?
No. I'm not going to kick another family out. That's not very nice.
Did you take their campsite?
They didn't have a campsite. They're like, this person's not here yet, so we just will take their campsite. That's what happened. Like we had our
So where'd you camp?
So like I just camped in the same site, and we like basically just took a open spot, and it was very inconvenient. And then the same family woke up super early, like 5 a.m., and did the whole talking aloud thing and left. So they kind of hit 3 of the annoying things.
We had some noise in our camp, remember?
Yeah.
We had some noise in our camp. Oh, fun fact. So I don't know if we were going to talk about this, but I'll mention it real quick. We had another campsite next to us that brought the boom box, bunch of kids, bunch of dads, adventure group of some kind, and they blared the music. And you think you thought it was, I don't know how long they were blaring the music. It was really loud for a long time. And then you thought it was a different campsite that had other music going to like 1 a.m., 1:30?
We got to explain this because it's not common to have
1:30,
like
guys.
a boom box. So here's the situation: is Catalina backpacking is very different. So you get to these established campsites that you've hiked all day to get to, and people can get there lots of different ways. They can just day hike in, have gear dropped for them. They can bike in.
Yep.
Some people, if they can hire rides in. So you had like a mixture of backpackers and just everybody there. And so they blared music till 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And yeah, anyway,
it
wasn't our favorite moment.
So I was going to tell you, I found out. So after you guys all went home and I had to get a taxi ride back to the other part of the island, we drove by that area. And I asked my taxi driver, who reminded me of my grandpa, I said, hey, is this guy in the trailer? Is this the camp host? Like, does he live here? This camp host, does he live here all year? We're like, what's his deal? And he's like, yeah, that's the camp host. He lives there. He's kind of a strange guy, but he lives there all year long. And I was like, I got to say, if I'm being honest with you, like he might have been one of the worst camp hosts ever because we had music extremely loud till 1:30 and he was just chilling in his trailer hanging out all night long. It was crazy.
Yeah. All right, well,
so there.
We'll go talk to
him. Can you sail back over there and go talk to him? That'd be great.
I'd love that, actually.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was not a highlight. That was a low light for sure, but everybody's been there. It was kind of like, your backpacker with a Bluetooth speaker times a million is what that was. So,
Okay,
I got a couple tidbits.
Okay.
Couple tidbits. Coming up in June, first week of June, we are kicking off the next season of the Backpacking Blisters Bible Study. We meet on Thursdays, 6 p.m. Pacific time. That's 9 p.m. Eastern time. If you're interested, please let me know. Send me an email. My email's in the show description, and I'll get you on the list. Even if you can only make it, we just say come when you can. And, yeah, I'll send you whatever information you want, but we meet up weekly during the summertime and monthly during the school year is how we do it. And some awesome folks in that group. Everyone's invited. Regardless of where you are, you can know the Bible like the back of your hand or not know it at all. Everybody's invited. So that's coming up first week in June. And then, let's see. I mentioned the next Patreon trip. So that one is the last full weekend in August. I don't have the exact dates, but it's going to be that last full weekend. And that's going to be a trip to the Timberline Trail going around Mount Hood. So by the time this episode comes out, I probably already have the invite out to Patreon, and there is a limited number. Derek, what would you cap it at? What would you say is like max number for folks?
How many miles are you guys doing?
It's 40 miles.
40 miles, so similar to what we just did.
Yeah, but broken up more like 10-mile days-ish, not crazy stuff.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe like 8?
Okay.
8 to 10?
I was thinking like 12, but you're...
Okay, 10.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 or 11.
So we'll see. We're gonna cap it, so if you're interested, you can join us for that. And that's all I got.
That's all I got. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Always a pleasure. We will see you next time. Check out the social media handles. Leave us a remark. Leave us some feedback. Leave us a troll comment. We love them all. It doesn't matter. 5-star if you want. We will see you next time. Remember, guys, if you want to become part of the PGA Pajama Pants family, just talk to Carl. He is the new vice president of the Pajama Club.
I want to fly around the world.
There was another use for the, when Carl brought his buff, and he didn't want to say this online, obviously. So here I am again, disclosing truth as usual. And so he took the buff off at night, every night. This is every night. And he would cuddle up with it, and he used it like because he sucks his thumb when he sleeps, and so he used it as a blankie. He had a buff blankie, and all was well.
Kick off summer with Memorial Day savings at Lowe's. Right now, get 5 Scott's Naturescapes 1.5 cubic foot mulch bags for just $10. Plus, get up to 40% off select major appliances and save an extra $50 on every $500 you spend on select major appliances $396 or more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 5/28. Mulch offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.